All right, lights, camera, Barstool, movie picks time. Our picks of the week. 5 movies that you should watch, where they're streaming, what we thought of them. Jeff D. Lowe, Ken Jack.
Yep.
Choosing to go no green screen today. No fun background.
I don't think I can on Riverside, as far as I know of.
Gooch.
I'll do it in post.
Booth.
I'll put you in Iraq.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. 5 movie picks from all of us. Make sure if you're watching on YouTube, hit subscribe. Subscribe to our page if you can. Like the video. It helps us out a lot. Let's get it off going right here with my first pick, Amazon Prime. 86 out of 100, streaming right now. Fantastic sci-fi comedy, Galaxy Quest.
Yeah, great movie.
Galaxy Quest is, streaming on Prime. Fantastic cast. A Tim Allen banger, which I just feel like
pretty rare, honestly.
How many of those are you saying like nowadays? But
Live
Galaxy
action.
Quest, the best way to describe the enjoyment of Galaxy Quest by people who've seen it is that people beg for more. But great cast: the late Alan Rickman, Sigourney Weaver, Tony Shalhoub, Sam Rockwell, fantastic. Justin Long, very funny movie. Based on Star Trek, obviously, at least like Star Trek and Star Trek fandom, Star Wars fandom a little bit as well. And the way they weave it in, which you'll see if you watch the trailer, if you've never seen the movie, the way they weave it into like the actual science fiction, spacey stuff is just fantastic. Not Kevin Spacey. Space stuff is fantastic. So that's streaming on Prime. If you've never seen it, Galaxy Quest, if you like anything sci-fi related, I'll be shocked if you don't like it. If you've never seen Galaxy Quest. Fantastic movie. Ken Jack.
I'm going to go with Starship Troopers on Netflix. 89 out of 100 for me. Oh, no, you picked Starship Troopers too?
No, it's just funny to get like Galaxy, two sci-fi comedies, from the 90s back to back.
Yeah, I mean, Starship Troopers is an awesome movie, and I think it's cool because it's a movie that has like multiple layers of enjoyment. Like, there's like the sci-fi action part of it, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
There's plenty of like comedy stuff in it, but also like there's the layer of it of which Paul Verhoeven puts in like everything, which is like, hey, how do I just tackle this very like bigger meta issue like military industrial complex or nationalism and do it in a way that is so subtle that like almost no one picks up on it. And not even actually, it wasn't even subtle. It was pretty in your fucking face. Just people chose not to pick up on it. But like it's so good and such a good like big meta commentary too, and just a fun ass movie. Great cast. Casper Van Dien, I don't think he did anything ever again after that movie. But the rest of the cast, like Denise Richards, my God. And then Michael Ironside, one of the great voices, the voice of Sam Fisher in the Rainbow Six games, and or in the Tom Clancy games, and among many other great roles. So yeah, I'm going to go with Starship Troopers.
Yeah, I mean, to this day, people still, don't get it. Not that you have to be smart to get it, but it is one of those crazy things where it's so on the nose in a sense, but it's still viewed maybe not in the exact light that they wanted it to be when it came out, which is kind of why it's so perfect. Why it has aged so well. Yeah.
I'll say another thing too. Both your picks are great examples of using practical effects in sci-fi. Like they have their CGI, which doesn't hold up because it's just 90s CGI, but the practical, like the monsters, they look great. It just goes to show. My pick is another like just banger where you throw it on TNT, catch it, and you just sit there and you watch the whole thing, kind of like what you guys put out. I'm going with A Knight's Tale. Maybe my most rewatched movie of all time. I'm not even kidding. It's up there. Heath Ledger, fantastic. Before he got into The Dark Knight and before he did Brokeback Mountain, he was the rom-com king. And that's what we have here. It's a rom-com mixed with medieval fantasy, mixed with like music. Music soundtrack is amazing. Paul Bettany's in there. Alan Tudyk, friend of the podcast, fantastic.
Paul Bettany too.
Yeah,
that's what I said. Paul Bettany is.
Oh no, I thought you were saying Alan Tudyk, only friend of the podcast. That's a double friend of the podcast drop.
Yeah, Paul Bettany is somewhat a friend of the podcast. He has to come back.
He did fuck us over on that rumor. Yeah, that was.
I mean, that guy was great social engagement. At the end of the day, that was a huge plus for us.
It was, it was great. He pantsed us on our podcast. That's basically what he did.
Yeah,
Paul Bettany. But yeah, no, it's a fun movie. It's just a lot of fun. I love it.
That is a great pick. Knight's Tale's fantastic. First one's off the board here.
And that's on, pick. By the way, that's on Hulu.
Hulu.
Forgot to.
Yeah. Hulu. So Prime, Netflix, and Hulu. And I'm going to go to another platform for my next pick, Max. HBO Max. I'm going to go Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Not that it's like a franchise no one's heard about or seen, but it's one of those. I think it's time to rewatch if you haven't rewatched it. I think if you haven't seen it, you're missing out. The Planet of the Apes reboot trilogy is fantastic. Really well done. They kind of get better as they go along. The first one's Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. It's on Max. But if you have seen it, you've watched it in a while, give them a rewatch. Talk about just fantastic movies. Taking source material that was incredibly established, really well done, and finding a way to do it in a prequel sense that works, which is crazy. We live in a world where prequels are just, kind of laughed at, even though in a sense it's not a prequel exactly to like the original, which is obviously an iconic movie. But it's like an origin, right? And they do it in a way that is incredibly engaging, fun to watch, kind of terrifying in some senses. It's that perfect mix of what the original Planet of the Apes was trying to be, but in this new age where, the one that came out in the 2000s with Mark Wahlberg did not exactly achieve. All three are great, but start with the first. If you haven't seen it and you haven't rewatched in a while, I would suggest rewatching it big time. And Andy Serkis as Caesar the Ape is fucking unbelievable. It's an unbelievable performance in mocap. That's on Max. 90 out of 100 for me on my rating. Ken Jack.
I'll just hit Wind River on Netflix. 97 out of 100 movie. One of my favorite neo-westerns ever made. Just perfectly executed. Perfect fucking cinematography. Perfect soundtrack. Great acting. Everything about it is just so goddamn good. And they have so many like perfectly like meticulously crafted scenes. Like very specifically, the "Why are you flanking me" scene is so goddamn good. And like I don't remember watching a movie in recent memory where and I originally watched this movie on Netflix. I didn't watch it when it went in theaters. I think it hit a weird time, like dead center of Me Too, and it was a Weinstein project where like they just didn't promote it really like that. But that scene, I remember watching on Netflix and being like, holy shit, like edge of my seat tension. And I think I liked everything about it, the investigation, all the tension is just, it's a beautiful and perfect, like kind of crime thriller. And it kind of shows an area of the United States which doesn't get a ton of love usually. So I always like that too.
Yeah, Wind River is fucking amazing. Amazing movie.
John Bernthal banger, baby.
It is. That is he's Sheridan, one of Sheridan's best friends, I'm assuming. He's in like all of his shit.
Yeah, no, I just when he shows up and stuff, it just brings a smile on my face.
I was like, hell yeah, and he shows up. Let me tell you something, man. And I'm just like, yep, that's right. That's right.
I'm gonna go to Max for my next pick. I'm gonna go Studio Ghibli. I'm excited for Miyazaki's next and no longer final movie, but I'm gonna do Howl's Moving Castle. Probably not my favorite out of Ghibli, but it is a very, very enjoyable watch and a great spot to start in. Very fantastical, and in my opinion, it does have the best dub out of any of Ghibli's projects. Christian Bale is a fantastic voice actor. It's like kind of like, of course he is, because he's a fantastic live action actor. Of course he'd come into a voice role and just knock it out of the park too. Yeah, and Billy Crystal's in there too, as he does a great job as the little flame man. Just a lovely movie, and I love the soundtrack, which you've probably heard before, even if you haven't seen the movie, because it's constantly used as a sound on TikTok, on Instagram Reels. Just a great movie. Love it.
Sticking with Max for my third pick. I'm going with a weird one. I'm not going to really, again, this is another thing where if you've seen it, you may not want to watch it again, but it's from director Yorgos Lanthimos, who's got a movie coming out very soon. It's The Lobster with Colin Farrell, Rachel Weisz. It's on Max right now. I'm not going to read the synopsis. I'm not going to explain what it is. I would suggest if you've never seen The Lobster, do not look up what it's about. Go into it kind of in an unexpected way. I will warn you, it's a weird fucking movie. It's very weird. From A24, strange movie. But it's one of those things where, like, if you like those kind of smaller projects, those like a little artsier, a little out there, it's like a romantic psychological drama. It's fucking bizarre, but I'll tell you what, I love that movie. It's not perfect by any means for me. It's an 85 out of 100, but The Lobster is just, it's one of those movies where it's nice to take a break from like the big budget blockbustery things and come down to some shit like The Lobster, because it's fucking weird. And it's a great performance from Colin Farrell. It's fantastic. So yeah, The Lobster. Ken Jack.
Remember when the lady jerks him off? I remember that scene.
Also, speaking of Yorgos, apparently Poor Things is like
gonna
be the number.
Amazing.
People are saying it's incredible.
Yeah, with his new movie coming out, it's a kind of a perfect time to watch his stuff because it all has that same feel.
Although I would prefer The Favorite over The Lobster if I was given the option. I had the same thing written down as Gucci. I just had Max. I said just take your pick of Ghibli, but I would do Spirited Away is a 99 out of 100 for me. Again, The Boy and the Heron coming out soon. There's never a bad time to watch a Miyazaki movie, but like the Studio Ghibli, like it's a good time to refresh on the vibes. And the vibes in all the movies are incredible. Just everything is so. I just said meticulous before with Wind River, but it applies a lot to everything that Ghibli does too. Everything is so like painstakingly manufactured to be perfect for whatever scene it's in, and that's just Miyazaki and not his sons. His poor fucking sons.
They want to be him. I don't blame them. They want to be him badly, but he is the little definition of one of a kind.
Marcus Jordan-ass dudes, or whatever the fuck his name is.
It is very funny to see the pushback here in the United States on like the Lord and Miller production of Across the Spider-Verse. And you can imagine just the Ghibli workers in Japan just throwing their hands up like, we've been doing this for 3 decades.
They've been working like 18-hour days.
Yeah.
With Miyazaki, too, who's like 90 years old. He's staying up there with them.
He's a crazy person, but I love it. All right. My next pick. When I was a kid, I was weirdly obsessed with The Doors. Very strange band to be obsessed with.
Did your dad like
them?
And
no, not really.
Oh, that's okay. See, sometimes when your dad loves a band, you just kind of like inherit them. So I would have got that.
Yeah. My dad's a CCR guy more than anything.
Mine
but
too.
because of that obsession with The Doors, I did end up seeing The Doors, the movie, from the early 90s starring Val Kilmer as Jim Morrison, and ended up loving it. I need to revisit it, but I remember really enjoying it, especially his performance as Jim Morrison. I thought it was incredible. And then the music is just fantastic because it's The Doors. It's trippy, and they play into that with the cinematography, with the whole theme of the movie. It's a great visit. If you like musical biopics, that's a great pick if you haven't seen it before. It's on Prime.
Also a great poster.
Yeah. My dad being a huge CCR guy, he's always like, yeah, fucking, I ain't no senator's son. I'm like, Dad, you were born in like 1963. Vietnam was over when you were like 9. What are you talking about?
Fourth picks to Netflix for me. I'm going to go with the movie Mark Ruffalo, Keira Knightley. Nice, just music-based, dramedy, musical type movie called Begin Again. If you've never seen it, which that movie making $65 million at the box office shocks me. Like that's a movie I feel like that would have made $5 million that no one saw. Mm-hmm. But Begin Again is a fantastic little movie. Pretty short, pretty easy to digest, but just fairly delightful, especially if you like music-based stuff that kind of revolves around music, and in that kind of that dramedy like type space. So I would definitely check out Begin Again. Nothing again over the top crazy good, but like really perfect for like a Netflix. If you haven't seen it, go watch Begin Again. 80 out of 100. That's my fourth pick.
Mm-hmm. My next one is Slow West on Max. 78 out of 100 for me. Slow West is a weird movie because like I feel like no one's really seen it, and it took me a while to get to it too. But it's like pretty interesting. It's a newer Western. I think it's like 2015. Fassbender's in it. Cody Smith McPhee, who's also weirdly in a lot of Westerns, like Power of the Dog. He was in, among others. Ben Mendelsohn is in it, playing like a bounty hunter dude. Fastman is like an old outlaw trying to get this kid to location. Like it's cool. And it's like, there's some good throws in it. It's definitely not perfect by any means, but like it is definitely a surprisingly good newer Western movie when there aren't really a ton of, it's like True Grit, pretty much end of list. And then like they got Slow West. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's again, nowhere near the level of True Grit, but like it's really damn good. And I would recommend it.
Never seen it. I never seen either of those picks.
Surprising. Also, have you seen the movies from John Carney? The other ones, Once and Sing Street are the better movies from John Carney. Sing Street is delightful. Yeah. Once is fantastic too, but all three are music-based movies. But Begin Again on Netflix, I definitely suggest checking out. Slow West's a good pick though too.
Fucking love Sing Street. My next pick, I'm going to Paramount. This is a movie I revisited over the weekend, and in my opinion, it is a perfect movie. There Will Be Blood on Paramount. It's just, there was controversy, I feel like back in 2007 or 2008 when it won Best Picture over No Country. I love No Country, and that's another movie, upper 90s for me. There Will Be Blood is the better movie. It's one of the most perfect movies you can imagine. Just a perfect portrait of American capitalism. Daniel Day-Lewis is fantastic, and Paul Dano in his first big role, just going toe to toe with him the whole time. It's fantastic the way it looks, the script. I mean, it's just watch it if you haven't seen it. I don't know why you'd put it out. I mean,
obviously the performance, Daniel Plainview is one of the best performances in the history of movies. So it's like
it's like terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, great pick. If you've never seen There Will Be Blood, I mean, no matter if you've seen it or not, There Will Be Blood deserves a rewatch whenever. My last pick, big time dad movie, political thriller, Clint Eastwood from 1993. It's on Netflix. I gave it an 89 out of 100. It's In the Line of Fire. I'm a political thriller sucker. Anything that's, whether it's fictional or based on fact, plays a Secret Service agent, being hunted down years after the Kennedy assassination. It's just the perfect 90s political thriller with like a classic Western or action star. It's like, it fits every bill that you'd expect. It's the example of like, there's a cookie cutter format from the 90s where the cookie cutter results are very good. This is one of those. I love In the Line of Fire. I haven't watched it in a while. Saw that it was streaming on Netflix, and we'll absolutely be watching it tonight while I ate dinner. That's a surefire hit. Ken Jack, last pick.
I'll just go to Hulu and take Popstar, 92 out of 100. I love Popstar. Yeah. It's so goddamn good, and it's so funny every time I watch it.
Never streaming either.
Yeah, very rarely streaming. Whenever it is, it's always on Hulu. I'm sure that's something to do with like some deal thing.
I ended up having to buy it on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. It's such a funny movie, and I feel like every time I watch it, I find a new line that makes me laugh that like I maybe didn't pick up on or hear or whatever. So many great ones. Every single time I hear the 30 Seconds to Mars joke, it cracks me up. It is so fucking good. It's a third of the way to Mars. It's just so many great lines throughout the movie. Great structure, great parody of obviously like was it the Justin Bieber shit, and just of like the music industry on a whole. I love it, and I can rewatch it a trillion times without blinking. So I'll throw a Popstar on it.
It always shocks me the number of people who love The Lonely Island and are just unaware of the movie's existence. I don't know how it's snuck by, but it has.
Yeah, it is. It is shocking. Well, they'll be like, "Oh, I love Donna Boa. I love this. I love their digital shorts," and they're like, "Oh, I never saw Popstar."
It's like, yeah. And then I'll round things off. I don't think you guys love this movie as much as I do, but I really like it. A comic book movie, V for Vendetta, on Amazon Prime. I really like that movie. It's a little pseudo-intellectual at points, kind of over the top, but I vibe with it. Natalie
in the
Portman,
80s for us, we definitely like it. Probably not as much as you, but yeah, we definitely do. I think enjoy it.
Yeah, I'd have it at like a 90. Where was I? Just a great movie. Just a very interesting spin on the comic book movie genre, and a completely different change of pace, with some a little heavier themes, but still very, very fun to watch. It rounds things out.
Here are our picks for me: Galaxy Quest on Prime, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes on Max, The Lobster on Max, Begin Again on Netflix, In the Line of Fire on Netflix. From Ken Jack, Starship Troopers, Netflix, Wind River, Netflix, Spirited Away, Max, Slow West, Max, Popstar, Hulu. And from Gooch, A Knight's Tale on Hulu, Howl's Moving Castle on Max, The Doors on Prime, There Will Be Blood on Paramount Plus, and V for Vendetta on Prime. That's it. 5 picks each every single week. These are our picks of the week. Let us know below what you suggest to watch, what movie you think we should be streaming, checking out, maybe even renting. You got to stream, rent it. Because I bought Popstar on YouTube. It's never streaming anywhere. That's it. For Ken Jack, Gooch, I'm Jeff D'Lo. Make sure to like and subscribe. It would help us out a ton. We will talk to you next time.